fandom of Shorinoki Ki Kahani. Guys, welcome back.
Hi.
Hi.
Good to have you all back. So this week was pretty substantial for the show, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yep.
So this week,
This week a lot happened. They got married, of course, but then of course, the post-marital things started off, and we're going to talk about something pretty substantial. I know we've touched about touched a little bit on this topic before, but then we're going to talk about a lot more about this especially Eastern culture called filial piety, which is actually confusion in its origin, but then South Asian cultures, it's not a choice. It's rather an unconditional obligation of the child, which is respect and obedience for the parents and elders, and it's kind of a codification of patriarchy. Respect is oft repeated, irrationally understood as the mommy of all goddamn family ideals. It surpasses logic and debates and substitutes rational disagreements with excellent old fashioned subservience. So many of us grow up trusting that this is how it should be, and then only you have to be Battamiz Bache to contend, query, and dissent. Where are you, the good sanskari kids? And if you aren't the good sanskari kid, you are the bad ones if you don't agree with your parents. And how could you dare do something without the parental approval? In fact, I easily believe that our families do want the best for us, but then we listened to their risk averse options. We listened to what worked for them in their times and their circumstances, and we're supposed to just follow their advice. And if we don't, then we are not the good sanskari bachas. So having said that, I think this is something that we're going to talk about today because this is what we saw happen in the episodes for this week. But before we do that, we have Shreya here who's going to tell us what exactly happened in the show this week. Shreya.
So yeah, this week was pretty eventful. Finally they got married in the SIC campus where it all started. Like so, they ended the circle where it all started, which was pretty cheesy, but at the same time it's a very dreamy wedding sequence. Well done on that. Then the marital bliss started happening with Tej and Devi playing the typical vamp Sas and Sasur, trying to browbeat the newly wedded what do you say, Bahu Anokhi. So Bahu Anokhi is now entering the Sabharwal mansion, and where she had like her first hurdle with her insulting the guest and Devi rebuking her, and Shaurya and Anokhi, you know, standing up for each other in front of Devi and Tej. But I had my certain disagreements and loophole which I found and you also found in the narrative.
You did read our reviews about it. Yeah, these are very
Yeah.
oft-beaten plots, which might
Yeah.
not work in 2021, I guess.
Yeah. So I think this week lacks some innovative writing in front of the writers. So writers dropped the ball a little this week, and like there were many loopholes, which you also pointed out. One was, Devi openly saying, like suggesting that Anokhi being the Sabharwal Bahu is the biggest degree she can get in front of the education minister of her state, and in like no reaction from her side, which was like which beats the logic, because you can't get away by saying shit like that in 21st century.
Not only
Then
that, you are supposed to be the premier education institution of the city, and how can you get away with a good reputation if you're making statements like that? That just defies the logic of the plot, right? I mean, if I were the education board member, I'd deboard them right then for making a statement like that about a woman. That too. I mean, I'd go on social media and completely shame them. Right? So
yeah, and also another thing is I don't know why. Maybe this was just my personal opinion, but I found the dialogues to be very OTT this week. I mean, like some dialogue stage, and they were openly insulting and insinuating to their in-laws that you can't afford this, and ऐसी शादी देखी नहीं होगी, ऐसा reception देखा नहीं
Yeah,
होगा.
those were so 1980, right?
Yeah,
Those weren't
yeah,
meant to be written now because they don't
yeah,
that ain't flying. I mean, there are better ways to insult people now. I
yeah.
mean, like,
Yeah, more
right?
subtle and more effective ways. Like you couldn't shame Ramesh Bhalla for his, obnoxious behavior and anything. But people, like rich people have become subtle with their insults, I feel. You know,
Yeah, it was. I thought a lot of episodes and a lot of plots this week were a lot of lazy writing, because that might there were really pickups from Mohora, the Bengali version, and there were literal pickouts from Bengali version. They changed nothing in the plots,
yeah,
and that might not fit the character arcs of Shori and Oki because they've completely changed the characters and they
true.
completely change the circumstances. They might be okay for a living room drama in Calcutta, but they're not okay for a uh, a mobile a good
Metropolitan
good
culture.
sitcom out of good serial out of based out of Chandigarh, because it's North India. North India doesn't work like West Bengal does, and it's not a living room drama at all. And the characters of Shori and Noki are way different than the characters of Shankar and Mahar in Mahar. And not only that, but the characters are so different than what the dialogues given to them are, and there was this complete disconnect between the plot and the dialogues and just the times. This 2021 just doesn't fit with.
And Alok and Shagun's planning plotting is coming out as fillers. They are not making any effort, like they are not making any impact in the narrative or the plot, to drive the plot further. It's just
they,
coming off
they,
as
they
comic
are so
relief.
dumb in the first place. I mean, how can you, okay, if you don't want the couple to have their nuptial night, or that you don't want the couple to be together, how does it matter if the couple falls asleep for 4 days? They'll have the first night on the fifth day. I mean, how dumb is that? Then, I mean, just what kind of stupid plot is that in the first place? Why? I mean, how can you stop a couple from
Yeah.
what kind of plot is that in the first place? And what
And
is that woman doing in that house at
yeah,
all? I mean,
yeah.
I just
And
don't get that. I just don't get a subplot with Swarda in it at all. It's just looking so bad now that, I mean, to justify her presence in that entire show is kind of getting difficult.
Ahir, Bubbly, and Reema, their characters are being sidelined. Like they don't have any role to play in
Yeah,
that.
they just don't have. I mean, Ahir was a slide in, yeah, for yesterday's. He wasn't there at all. He
Yeah,
was just slid in. His content was just slid in.
yeah,
His scenes were slid in, and then Bubbly had just the role. And Rima, why was she even there? She was accompanying Bubbly for one shot. What is the role that Rima still has? Is
yeah,
is it still a friend in the college who supports her? I
yeah,
mean, I don't know how they're going to plan this out further, going further. But having said that, I mean, they have to get back to the main track. This
yeah.
is such. This wasn't needed. We already know. If they're trying to tell us how silly the older suburbs
Parents.
are, we already know that, and they don't have to tell us that. We already know that Shagun doesn't like Anoki. We don't know that. We don't need to know that. We know that Auntie Alok is dumb. We don't need to know that again. We also know his plots are pretty fallible, and they're not smart. We know that his first plot was kidnapping
Okay.
of Anoki, and there was a dumb plot too. So we know all of that. By repeating all of this, they're just showing lazy writing, and that
True.
just didn't sit well. The entire week did not sit
Even,
well with lazy writing. They should move on with the fast tracks.
even the scene with Kanchan, I think you also wrote in your review that like I don't think that was needed at all. I mean, why was it in
It
the
just was so loud and it was so not required. Why are you making a big deal out of a nuptial night? Come on, what's a big deal?
yeah,
People sleep with each other all the time. What is a big deal? I mean, why are you making such a big deal out of that intimate moment between two people. Why is it so OTT? I just don't get it. Why was the entire household in the bedroom in the first place? Why? That was so cheap and vulgar to start with.
The only saving, scene in the entire week for me, apart from the wedding and the function itself, was Shan and Asa. Finally, their story showed some progression and some promising signs. Their scene was well done. Like Khalid and Deepa has great chemistry. They look great together. They finally like remembered that they are divorced couple, and Asta told him, now I'm leaving next day. So it also gives
So
you a
I think that entire process of them coming back together for the kids needs to come together as a plot, as a bigger plot, and
yeah.
they realize that maybe Anoki needs them and Shorin needs them to be together, and that process needs to come together. That is a better story to tell than this negative thing. So I think that is a plot to follow. But the other thing is, in every scene after the marriage, it's like Shori is not required. What's
Yeah.
going on? I
I think
think that is a failing of the script right there.
he is now. Yeah.
And even Anoki's become very preachy all of a sudden. That is so irritating right there, because she can become a teacher too. I mean, the moment she becomes preachy, right, Supriya, if you just chip in, the moment she becomes preachy, it just becomes such a, you know,
I felt that too, and I had commented this that we need to cut down Anuki's preachiness because preachiness is not part of Anuki's characterization. It sounds a little out of the place for me when she becomes preachy. And to be very honest, you know what I really felt a little unnatural is when a woman is getting married. I know I have seen this in my cousins. They feel very uncertain on how to proceed with their in-laws or how to proceed with their family because it's a new life for them. So there is a little bit of fear, that uncertainty, that how do we adjust. So at that point in time, many times, even if the customs are not liked by them, they fall in line because they are a little uncertain. Some of them, yes, they may draw a line, but then some of them, they just fall in line if it does not hurt them or hurt their integrity or respect. And they don't, as a bride, nobody starts preaching because it's a very difficult for them to do. So I felt that a little bit out of line, especially when she starts preaching about so like the rice thing. I thought it could have been done more subtly. She could have, instead of saying I'm not doing it, like what last they did, like I she took 3 vows or 4 vows. Maybe they could have cut that bit where she says I don't want to do it and she starts preaching about it, rather than she says okay, I'll do it, but I will change my vows. I will not I will not repay. I will not say that I'm repaying you through throwing of the rice. If they had just cut it and then moved straight away to the vows she had made, that would have had a bigger
bigger
impact.
impact. Yeah, yeah, and my problem with all of that was also the fact that they left everything else. She stuck to that one reform, but there were so many other things that they left unsaid. Like, for example, I'll tell you, um, she was okay with being Anoki Shore Sabharwal.
Yeah, and that is again a
That
very
is again, I mean, she didn't question that, but she questioned this. And I'm like, all
but
right, you left 10 other reforms. You left, there was nothing spoken about. There were other reforms in that entire process, right? That she could have, just the ostentatiousness of the wedding. Why have a big wedding? Why invite so many people? There were so many things that they
yeah,
could have spoken about. They didn't talk about any of that. They spoke about one thing. And that was so, that just didn't make sense. And this lecturebazi is something that will kill the show. They have to stop. That's so Bhavna. Have to
no,
stop.
I don't
It's like
like.
all
I
of a
mean,
sudden I'm not watching Sharon, okay, I'm watching Anupama. And I'm like, stop being Anupama right now. please, you're 21, you're not 45 or 50 or whatever, however old Anupama is. You cannot talk like a 41, like a 50-year-old woman. You have to be your 21, and 21-year-olds cannot lecture with all that experience. And you cannot tell people older than you what to do, what not to do. You have to come through your age, and you got to stop lecturing. You cannot be a lecture boss. It's just so put off. It's so put off.
No, you do it respectfully, Miral. So, like, I remember older people used to ask me very embarrassing questions. Like, my younger cousin got married, and their in-law came and asked me, "Oh, she's younger to you. Why did she get married, and why did you not get married? And she got married before." I said, "What's sorry? Yes, it is my choice that I did not get married. So, what is it to you that my cousin got married? I mean, why are you bringing that in here?" But I respectfully put my point in just one line, and then she walked away. I did not start off with lecture pass. This is something which I find it very unreal at the show. So, because my mom also fought against a lot of conventions, but she always said that at some point in time you have to fall in line and then fight. But you cannot do the lecture bazi, because lecture bazi gets you nowhere, and it's
Yeah.
just so that was
Yeah, no, it's not. It's uncharacteristic and just so put off. It's a put off. That Anoki lecturebazi is a put off. What do you say about that, Shreya? What's your feeling about that?
Yeah, I mean, I was like, hey, I'm getting late. Matlab, if I were the Bharati, I would like, please khana do jana. I was like, why you think like it's a, I mean, ritual है खत्म करके घर जाना नहीं. I mean, I would be tired. Like मेरे पास इतनी stamina नहीं होगी मैं इतना बड़ा भाषण दूंगी कि after getting giving exam, having the wedding, and then having the dinner and whatever खाना खाने के बाद इतना energy है lecture देने का. Please, I mean, whatever
And
like
what was wrong with that? I thought the wedding was pretty good. Why did they keep saying itni hadbadi, itni hadbadi, itni hadbadi kyun thi? It was perfectly fine. Hadbadi kyun thi? Traffic tha.
no,
He got the. I mean, I didn't get the entire
so
concept of
the
hadbadi. Why would they
Hadbadi,
agree to
they
that?
meant they meant the Anoki's age itself. That no, why is she getting married when she's still studying?
no. So
No,
But that wasn't her decision. That was the boy's decision. He wanted to get married to her.
no,
They'd
but
already gotten married.
yeah,
yeah, so what basically in India, I mean, generally marriages are planned over 2 months or 3 months or four
right.
months or 5 months. So if somebody gets married in a week's time, or like my parents, they decided suddenly second Saturday ki shadi hona hai, no muhurat, nothing, and they said second Saturday is a leave for everybody. So everybody was like, "Why are you getting married in a hurry?" So they had just planned for 3 weeks or something like that, and they decided to get married. So everybody thinks if you're getting married in less than a month, it's a hutbadi. You're getting married in a rush.
You're not planning
Because
it properly.
you're not planning it. So because marriage generally is planned over 4 months, 5 months, 6 months down the line. So that is the reason why they use that word hutbadi.
So I mean, from this perspective, they were already married, right? And they're just codifying whatever else. They didn't have to do any of this. They could have gone to court and
Yeah.
registered their mandir ki marriage, and they would have done. They didn't need to do any of this drama.
And you know what? That part I like. There, Anoki just gave one answer. It's our personal matter. Why? What is it to
That's
you?
it.
So
They didn't need to
yeah, that
explain.
makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, so that if she would have done the same thing with the ritual and with Devi, instead of giving lectures, that would have been impactful. That would have made much more sense for her
I
character
would
that
have loved the story to be something else rather than them trying to stay with Devi and Tej. I would have loved for Shauri to take a stand and say, okay, we're gonna go on our own. We're
yeah.
gonna live a separate life, and them creating a life on their own, and then kind of you know trying
No,
to.
but I think that plot line will come eventually because now we saw the pre-cap. So in pre-cap, Tej and the family like Anokhi, like Devi's like, why do you need to give exam? She's like, yeah, I need to give exam because my it would make impact for my career. And Tej is like, what career? Like after being a Sabrawal Bahu, you can't work. And I think now that the main plot line would be revealed. Okay, why did Tej and Devi separated Astha and Shan? How did they do it? How did they manage to,
I guess this is the time when Asta will say, "All right, this is time for me to step up and give support here because we can't really leave." And I think it would be Shan who'd say, "You can live here." Then she has her exams and all. Let's move out.
move out?
So I think that's when they will all four start living together, and that's when that side plot is going to start, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, like, we are waiting for that to happen because
But
Shan
I
and
think this is also the time when also the reveal will start for Shaurya, because his mother has not told him the whole story. He doesn't know the whole story of why his mother left.
That is
Because
one of my complaints also, that Shan, like Shaurya and Asta reconciled too fast for my comfort. I mean, I would have loved if Shaurya had been little distant to her, like not fully embracing Asta. Like right now, he's like fully embracing Asta with the. I would have still, wanted him to have some distance with Asta and organically for their bond to grow. Right now, it doesn't feel like they have been separated for like so long. I mean, it can be just my personal opinion, but I don't know if you can guys chip in that.
I think he just reset everything in his head. He's forgotten. That's what Anoki asked him to do. And I think he's kind of reset everything cognitively in his head, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go slate zero. And that's what he promised her that, and he did that. But what he doesn't know, and what Asta is saving him from, is the trauma, because he keeps saying she's great. He keeps still respecting his aunt. He keeps telling her that I don't trust you, but I still respect you and love you. And that respect and love is gonna now tear away, because now the time has come for him to understand why his mother left and how they took. He doesn't know how he was snatched away.
Yeah.
He knows they kept the mother away, and he wants to give his mother the rights back, but he doesn't know the real story of how cruel it was.
Yeah.
And the reality.
The other thing is, maybe you might feel it is not very organic, but then I know kids who have separated, but then once they rekindle with their mothers, they want to, make up for all the lost time which they lost. So, they accept it fully. Once they accept it fully, and they make up for the lost time. As Mirar said it, he reset it, and he's trying to make up for all the lost time. So for a stranger or a neutral person, it may sound strange, but for them, it's like we have this connection, this cosmic connection. So obviously, I want to make up all the time for it. And I've seen that many adopted kids also, they too feel that, and they feel that immediate connection. Even
And
though
also, I think there'll be a reset of relationships, because right now what Anoki's doing, Anoki's giving all the leverage to Devi. She keeps saying, "I hope I'm wrong about her," but it's only when the reset of relationship between Devi and Shaurya happens that she will have to reset her relationship too.
Yeah. And that also the dialogue in that Griha Pravesh, like, when Asta, like, when Devi was, starting to do the Griha Pravesh, Asta, like, Anoki asked, no, like, my Asta mama will let her do the ritual first. And I was like, what? How does it matter to you? Koi bhi prepare. And she's like preaching, and again she started
वो फिर
preaching.
preaching शुरू कर दिया. हाँ, it's just like the preaching role doesn't really work, and it's a put off. And this is the feedback I was getting from a lot of people, because we were doing that, we were doing focus groups around Punjab on the feminism aspect of Anoki's character. And a lot of focus groups came back with the same story. They don't like the preachiness of the character. They would rather want a lighter character around feminism, and feminism as a subject is kind of a it's a big put off right now, given the aftermath of Me Too and everything. So they want it to be a lighter, they want it to be fun character, they want it to be relatable rather than preachy, because the moment you become preachier, you become unrelatable immediately. So I guess that is a feedback from us to the show, that they need to make it less preacher and more relatable,
Yeah.
which it was earlier, right?
Yeah, true. So it's
She
just
needs to be in
that.
the learning process. She doesn't need to be a guru.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like if I'm a 21-year-old, I would be, as Supriyadi said, I would be not sure of my reaction. अगर मैं ये बोलूंगी तो how it will impact, like how it will it be taken? My words, like I'll be very careful with my words. And here she's Anokhi is like giving gyan to her in-laws.
No,
No,
she's
no.
so confidently giving care. She's not at all apprehensive about being a bride and going into suburbs. I mean, that I felt was little off, Miral, because even the most confident of career women who have got married, even in 30s, I have seen them being so apprehensive, so concerned about what will be their new life like. And obviously, anybody will be concerned. When I decided to become a mother and I was becoming a mother, even when the child was coming, I was apprehensive about it. So there was that fear and apprehension around me. So that fear, nervousness, that apprehension was a bit missing. That's what I felt in her.
What could be the feminist message in this? That, even powerful women get apprehensions. They are not invincible. Like, show women, I'm not
Nobody's
saying this
invincible.
bad.
They need a support
Yeah,
system too. And I would love
yeah.
for Kanchan to become her support system rather than this stupid act. I mean, it was so vulgar. That entire thing was not okay. I'm sorry. You're making a big deal out of something that isn't supposed to be a big deal. It's a private moment. You cannot make it such a. You cannot make it so. You made it vulgar all of a sudden.
Yeah, I didn't mind teasing and all, but the level it went was like OTT for me because personally, I mean, I've seen the character of Shaurya and Kanchan grow. So this is like, I don't know. I think maybe if Anokhi's a friend, like even if Rima was doing it, it would have made much more sense for me
But
because they are like,
Rima to Anoki, not to Shaurya, right? And
exactly, I'm saying that.
similarly, their bond is not at that level. Kanchan and Shaurya not at that level where Kanchan would do
Yeah.
this openly,
So
right? So it was.
yeah, and also the age, like Anokhi and Rima are of that age, chalo if they do it, it makes sense. But like Shaurya being in his 30s, engaged twice, and he's married. So I mean,
You don't talk about this is a normal part of life. You don't talk about it like this, and you don't make a big issue of the whole family in their bedroom. That was so OTT. That wasn't called for. That just wasn't. There was
No,
like
and what I felt little odd is in nowadays everybody does not arrange a nuptial night at home. Most of them they arrange it in hotels, and unless it is because of the pandemic, they may not have. But most of them arrange it in hotels so that they get their privacy and they get their this thing movements and all. So what I really felt funny was, oh, if Shagun sleeps on my bed, they can easily go to a hotel.
what's the big
They
deal?
can
I mean,
easily go
there's so
to a
many
hotel.
loopholes to that entire thing that it was like so stupid. It was so stupid.
So I think we need to discuss this point also that in India, why intimacy is postponed. Like in most of the ITV shows,
Why are people in each other's business so much? I don't get it. Why is there no space?
Shreya,
no, but
maybe you could start.
it's taboo also. Like I don't know, we are the country of Kama Sutra. ठीक है चलो we were supposed to be very open, but abhi you can't talk about it, but you'll insinuate everything. So either talk openly or don't talk at all. बीच में रहने का कोई फायदा नहीं है. Insinuating everything, double meaning में सब बोलो. या तो फिर make IT very progressive and show everything. Why these innuendos and everything?
What,
That's not the problem.
what I really object to and what I really want the Indian TV shows to take forward is please show intimacy at the time when it has to be shown. You cannot postpone or push the intimacy for 1 year and 2 years post the marriage and
That
say you're
is so
irritated. I mean, I
unbelievable.
find it very, very irritating because
Yeah.
you are actually degrading that beautiful relationship. Because see, marriage after all is not just a sanction of cohabiting together, but it's also a sanction of an intimacy within your space. You are giving them that personal space to be intimate. So why are you pushing that? And all these women who are watching the TV, they also would have had their intimacy with their own husbands. It's
True.
not as if it's a new thing for them or a new thing for the parents or
Hey, every intimate relationship has two aspects to it. I mean, it's the physical and the emotional part of it. And for physical to happen, emotional is not important, but emotional is a very important part of the relationship, right? And why are you making such a big spectacle out of it? It is an organic process, and normalize this for God's sake. Don't make it a spectacle. Don't make it such a big deal that people have to really think about it, and people have to give it so much thought that it becomes a big deal. It's not a big deal. It is, physical intimacy between a couple, whether they're married or not, is a part of their natural cycle of life. Let's not make it a big deal. Let's not put labels on it that are not supposed to be there. And let's not make it OTT, please. Coming back to, let's move ahead and talk about this entire process that Devi and Tej have already have expected from the family forever, that whatever they say, people have to listen to, and people have to agree with, and they cannot differ from them. This entire concept that we spoke about when we started the show, of course, was the concept of the fact that Devi and Sabharwal have something which most South Asian families expect from the children, is filial piety, which means that there's unconditional obligation from the family, that they will be listening to their elders, and there'll be respect and obedience. And respect means that you will not talk back, and you will not, whatever the family elders tell you to do, you will do exactly that, and you will not talk back, you will not disrespect. And disrespect would mean that you will not agree with them. So although in real life just disagreeing with somebody does not mean disrespect, but for South Asian families, disagreeing is disrespect. And if you talk back and you have another opinion to what your elders have, that's also disrespect for some reason. And if you don't agree with their opinion or their way of doing things, you also do not have good sanskar, or you don't have culture. So how does this work? Why would somebody having a different opinion than you become wrong? Let's talk about that.
Really gonna
Very
be
interesting
yeah,
though, right?
yeah. It's
Whereas in other cultures, having a different opinion is celebrated, diversity is celebrated. We celebrate diversity of opinion because even when we develop tech products, unless we have diverse opinions of looking and ways of looking at a thing, we're not able to develop a good product. And that's just a product. Unless we have different ways of looking at the same thing, we're not able to have a life's experience. So here we are in a culture where we're told that whatever the guy at the top thinks is the right thing, and you're not supposed to have another opinion, you're not supposed to have another way of doing the thing, and he's right. And if you
yes.
don't agree with it, then you're wrong and you're completely off balance and not cultured, and you have to be punished.
So I think there are two things. So when I was young, my parents, my father especially, so he taught me one thing. He said, if you feel you're not understanding the reason or why something is being said to you, you are always welcome to question. Question us, question your grandparents, question anybody. And I had that in me. So everybody used to say, like, okay, so Priya is there. If you want to convince her, she will question you. And my mom had this thing that you listen, but then uh, where it does not hurt you much, you fall in line, but where you feel it hurts, then you question back, and then you disagree. So I think this whole dynamic, what happens, and even now, like when elders are saying something, at times I just let it go. I do not say anything, but then in my actions I show them that I do not agree with you, so politely I will back out. But there is this whole thing of respect to elders, which is inculcated. Now, in many families, what happens is the main thing is, which is inculcated, is that you cannot break the family apart. So if you disrespect, you're breaking the family apart. So Devi and Tej were playing on that sentiment and that emotion. So for example, even with Asta and Shan, they could have easily separated from the family and started their own family. What is being
Living separately doesn't mean you're breaking the family.
you're
Living
breaking family.
separately does not mean that you're going away. Living separately could be just a choice.
Choice,
And you could
absolutely.
be closer to the family living separately.
Absolutely. Now, what happened is when Ekta Kapoor brought in her shows, she normalized this joint family concept. She normalized it, starting with her Kyuki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi and Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki. There, they showed those joint families in a very big way, in a very big celebratory way. Then before that, you did have nuclear family concepts and all, but she literally normalized it, I feel, and she over dramatized it. So much so that everybody now dreams of this united so-called joint family where everybody is sanskari, where everybody wants to be that and respectful. That is what we normalized now. That's what I feel. Maybe Shreya may disagree, but this was the starting of that joint family culture. But I think it's time we break away from that. It's time, because in cities and towns, because of various job issues, there is no such joint family existing unless you are a Marwadi with a huge business and all that. When people are in service class or corporate or this thing, they have to move away from their families, but they're not being disrespectful to their parents. So this narrative has to change now with the changing times. And I think that narrative is not changing. Narrative has changed at the root level, grassroots level, but it is not changing in the shows. That's what I feel. So Shreya, maybe you want to add.
No,
Shreya.
I just have one point. कि I think this is joint family is being done to cost cut, क्योंकि इनके पास budget नहीं इतने set लगाने के लिए. That's the only explanation, because it's not possible for like 20-30 people to live together without cramping each other. इतने bedrooms किसी के घर में नहीं होते. So I don't know वो क्या, मतलब it would feel like a hostel instead of home if so many people are living together. Such all जैसे setup. Like what I know for a fact, I know families के जो क्या करते हैं, like they have a like huge plot and वो 2-3 घर, like they make it like together, like neighbors के जैसे रहते हैं, but not like everyone is not living in the same
Yeah,
place.
absolutely.
Yeah, because and they all have their separate rasoi. Kitchens, they all have their separate, because it's not practically possible, that 30 people are eating together and सबका ये एकता कपूर ने फॉर्मूला स्टार्ट किया, फिर राजन शाही has continued it, और now everyone is
Rajan Shai's serials are joint families having festivals. I mean, literally, that's his concept. So one festival finishes, the other festival starts, and in between the festivals, they have dialogues, and then they have a dance. Literally, if you look at any of his serials, they're like never-ending festivals, and festivals you haven't even heard of. Literally, I mean, I don't know how he does it, but one festival gets over the other festival, and festivals go on for weeks, dude. Literally, weeks. One festival lasted like 10 days or something for one show, and literally drags on with clothes and dances and sequences, and then the drama happens in between all of that. That festival ends, then they have like 2 days of no festival, and the third day the next festival starts. And this is
Oh,
Rajan
weddings.
Shah's formula.
Weddings and anniversary. So now when I saw a clip on Instagram that their father-in-law and mother-in-law is having anniversary, so they're doing shadi again. They're doing fera.
Dude, that's his formula. Festival marriage, festival marriage, festival marriage. Always a celebration, so new clothes, dances, and performances. And that is how he does his episodes. That's how he gets to like 3,000, 5,000 episodes. Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah,
And every festival goes on for 10 days or whatever. So 2 weeks gone. Like half a month you're having one festival.
no,
Dude,
but
that's amazing. Amazing formula.
Singhania and Goenkas are rich, but Anupama is the star. She is so middle class. No, they have that much money. They still doing festival
Oh
every
my
week.
god, that's like a totally different level. That's a totally different level of festivity. I mean, like, gosh. But anyways, having said that, coming back to what we were discussing, every serial maker has his own formula. But you're right. This entire uh, celebration of joint family system without uh, without really getting to the crux of the fact that hey, there's nothing wrong with nuclear families. Why are you making
Yes.
it a pop? Why did
Huh.
why did you make it a sin all of a sudden for people to think that nuclear families are a sin? And why is it looked down upon? It's the same demonization that they did with middle class girls. It's the same thing that they did with nuclear families. Whereas there's nothing wrong with having nuclear families. In fact, respect people's space for God's sake. Respect people's right to be right to have their own space and right to live their lives as they please. And somehow that is not celebrated, and for some reason that's looked down upon and penalized in those stories. And because those stories penalize it, then it kind of reeks itself into the society somehow and changes the way people think about nuclear families and changes the way people think about non families that are not joint. So again, changes the way the society behaves with
See,
people around them.
no, I had just have to make like two quick points. One is like when this concept of joint family and all started with Surat Barjatya in the 90s. That
Yes.
was that was a target specific audience, that middle class joint family, because who didn't have that economic liberty to have who could afford separate homes. That was a compulsion at that point of time in society कि उनके पास इतने पैसे नहीं होते थे, then it was a compulsion to live together. Now people like now as India has progressed, people even middle class families now they are taking home loans and getting their own home. Even governments are encouraging people to take loans and move to new homes, because that is how you develop cities and economy, and that is how you build societies. That is how modern societies are built. They're not like, I know however harsh it may sound, but and it's not like we're destroying the family system. Like we are still celebrating all festivals together. I don't think how living separately would mean not being a family. To like you can still be a family together. Like
You
I
can.
know for a
If you wanna be with your family for certain occasions, you can still be with them for certain occasions. I mean, hey, over here Thanksgiving is a big family occasion. Everybody flies to be with family for Thanksgiving, but that doesn't mean you stop working. Doesn't mean you can't go to school. Doesn't mean that you can't go to another city and live your life
yeah.
just because of this familial structure. Literally.
Yeah, so yeah, financial constraint was one point, and another was about girls not being that, like, we are taught to not be too outspoken. So it's like if a girl is too outspoken, brash, उसको मुंहफट बोल देंगे. If it's the same thing if a guy is doing, he'll be confident. So that is the difference between being a confident guy and a muffled girl. I mean, like I know, like I have been called like you're too upfront to be a you're too upfront for being a girl, and I was like, what does that even mean? Too upfront, like so I don't like I take it as a compliment, but that is the thing. So you should start like girls are you shouldn't like you're taught like So I know like if you are being polite, I'm polite to everyone. Like I'll be polite to people who are elder to me and who are younger to me also. So it's not politeness सिर्फ elders को देते ऐसा नहीं होता. If you are generally being respectful, be respectful to every age group. So you shouldn't be like, and see, Arjun ने भी question किया था. He also questioned Krishna. So how what is basically Gita? Gita is like
Answers. Answers
yeah,
to
answer.
Arjun's questions. Yeah.
Yeah. So अगर like Krishna the Bhagwan थे, Arjun questioned even him. he questioned him. So that is how they had that conversation, and that is how Arjun also gave his opinions on certain things. So he, like, if you're questioning your family, you are also getting answered. If you're wrong, you are also getting answer. You're also getting your thinking cleared, and you're also some. It's not like parents are always right. Like, I know for a fact that I can disagree with my parents. मैं उनको सिखाती हूँ कुछ चीजें, and they'll be like, yeah, okay, we didn't know that, we'll take care of that next time, because we don't know. So they don't also know everything. So if you are educating them something, I'm sure they'll they'll hear it with open minds. So it's not like parents अगर बड़े हैं तो उनको सब आता है, उन्होंने सब सीखा है. Everyone has like different learning experiences. So the source of learning can be from a younger generation, and it can be from an older generation. So it goes both ways. So I don't get this point. Okay, you should respect. I respect my everyone. I respect my elders. I respect my younger. Huh. Even if I'm disrespecting, like even if I'm disagreeing with someone, I'll do disrespect. Like, I'll do it respectfully. Like, for example, if I have a problem with you, MK, I'll say, MK, I have a problem with you. This is my problem. It's not like I'm disrespecting you, or
No,
I'm
it's a
questioning your thoughts.
conversation, and we can work that problem out, right?
Yeah,
It is what
yeah,
it is, right? You
yeah.
had something to say, Supriya.
Yes, what I wanted to say, Miral, is one of the things which I find a little off-putting in the kids here is, and even in the shows, it's iterated that they don't want to economically be independent. When you say that, why can't they question? The first thing what the kids should also think is that, can we be economically independent? Can we move away in case things don't work out? Like, even in the Shaurya or Anokhi, which I really felt off-putting, is that Anokhi thought that the money is more important, the family money, the family profession, family property. And my question to everybody or to the kids is, why are we so reliant on our parents' money and parents' property? If you
I
really
don't completely agree with you over there. I don't think she thought that he was dependent on the family money and property and his inheritance. She didn't do it because of that. She did it because she felt he was connected to his family. He loved his family too
Yes,
much. And the college meant something. He built the college up. He built the college up through his through his
okay. So
hard
let
work, and she didn't want him to suffer losing the hard work because of her. She didn't want to be the reason. Because remember, Tej also said to her that it's okay right now, he loves you, but what if he regrets this decision tomorrow? She didn't want to be the regret tomorrow.
yeah.
So
So
she was very clear in her head that she doesn't want to be the reason. And she said that again yesterday when she said that, I hope I'm wrong, that I don't want to be the reason that he has to leave the house again because of my studies again, that he has to pick up a fight with his family again. But she doesn't understand. It's not for her that he's fighting. He's also fighting for himself because he
absolutely.
doesn't see himself separate from her, and she just still doesn't get how they're a unit now. She doesn't still get that they're not separate from each other, they're a unit. And this is how marriages change people. This is how marriages become. When you're married to somebody, you're not separate people, you become one unit. And this is how Devi and Tej don't see them. This is how Anoki doesn't see them yet, but this is how Shaurya sees them. And this is how
And also,
Asta and Shan see them too, because they see each other like that. Even though they were separate, they were still one unit. They did not separate. Even though they did not live together, they were still one unit. When they wanted to do something, they acted as one unit.
and also,
Absolutely. But
Supriya,
so-
sorry, I just want to make one quick point. They touched upon that, like, economic independence. So Shan, like, really complimented Anoki that she's an independent girl, because she educated herself, like paying her own fees, and staying with her own. Like, she didn't have that resources. Like, she didn't take anyone's help for her studies and education, and living in Chandigarh on her own. So they, like, did touch upon it, but you're right, they didn't do it, like, in a celebrated way. Like, they could have done bit more on that. Like after like Shaurya left the Sabharwal home for Anoki, I think he'll return in like one day. So that portion, you're right. They could have explored more. That even after separating from Sabharwal, they could have shown him having that track. He is not getting that recognition for his job, and he's having job dissatisfaction. They could have that track, like maybe they could explore it in future, like when what is Shaurya without the Sabharwal last name? So
Absolutely.
can he still be or something on his own just by being an economic professor? Like
How do we normalize asking questions? How do we tell our elders that asking questions is not equivalent to disrespect, and just because they're elders, they don't hold the license to be right? How do we normalize that equation within our families, given the fact that they I mean, I know our parents are cool. I mean, my parents especially, I mean, if I ask questions they don't mind it. I've never had that relationship with them, and I've never ever had the issue of them being right all the time, or not having discussions, or me talking back being looked down upon or anything. I've never had that issue, but I know a lot of my friends have, and I don't know how they have dealt with it, but obviously they have never spoken back, and they've always agreed with what the family said, and they've always had to, I mean, sometimes they've had to go through with decisions that have been downright dictatorial, which is horrifying. But it's totalitarian. It's like, there are moral cracks in most of the directors, and some of the beliefs are totally they're out of place. Those principles are amoral, for God's sake, and they can, instead of flagging concerns or asking questions, or justifying that thought process, which they should be doing with their parents or elders in the family, they've had to swallow it and just obey, because it's family, and they've had to live their lives in just agony. And I know these people, and they've still lived their lives in agony because of decisions that the parents took for them. So how do we get out of the situation? Is my question, and that's the last round.
So, Mira, first thing, how we can get off is we are not going to be a villain or a vamp in this thing. We have to convince ourselves that we are not villains or vamps if we say no to some of the decisions which goes against our dream. That is one. And the second thing, I strongly feel that economic independence is also a very crucial factor, because I have seen when I was economically independent and I could question with respectfully, there was a different kind of respect seen from the others as well. So I got that reciprocation. So they knew that, yeah, this lady out here, she's economically independent and she knows what she's talking about.
So my thing would be like, we have double standard for a daughter and a daughter-in-law. So if a daughter questions, like if I am my parents' children, they wouldn't mind me questioning them. But maybe if I'm someone else's daughter-in-law, I think I don't know, they might find it difficult for me. Like they'll find it difficult for me to question them. They'll be like, "Ye outsider hai." Like, why would we, So that is the thing. So if you are considering a daughter, so if you're getting a daughter-in-law, you should treat them as children, or treat them as your children, and answer them how would treat your own children. So normalize. So that is my thing. So normalize having, daughter. If your daughter is questioning, fine, but like normalize your daughter-in-law is questioning you also. So that is the thing. So अगर बेटियां तो सबकी, like if your father or my father, even if they feel they were making a mistake, they'll always support us. They'll be like, yeah, at the end this is my child. पर वो किसी और के बच्चे के लिए वो feeling नहीं आती है. So that, how do you have that? Because once you start treating your daughter-in-law as your daughter, or as your own child, then only you'll start overlooking those flaws, and answering those questions, and satisfying their curiosity. So normalize having someone else's kids also questioning you. That would be my advice.
That's perfect advice. And the entire idea that anybody would have blind, absolute respect towards you, and that word respect has to be earned. So respect is always earned. It cannot be absolute for anybody. and it has to be earned by a lot of things, by everybody. Not it doesn't come because you're older, it doesn't come because because you think you're wiser, it doesn't come because of age, it doesn't come because of white hair, it doesn't come because you were born in a certain year, it doesn't come because you're richer, it doesn't come because you're somebody's mother-in-law, it doesn't come because you're somebody's father-in-law or a father or a mother. It comes because of somebody being able to respect you for certain characteristics, for certain ideals. So respect is always earned and cannot be absolute. Whoever you are, even if you're my father, it has to be earned, right? So with that, uh, we you have to understand that everybody has the ability to think, and they will think and respect you according to their ability to actually measure what you mean to them. So it all depends on you, how much respect you're able to emulate. And if you behave in a manner where behave like Tej and Devi, you don't really deserve the respect. And all the respect that's coming to you is coming because there is some filial piety that you've left in the family. And once that the glass is shattered, that wall is broken, where they lose respect for you because of the ugly things that you're doing, that's not going to remain, because will be no respect left. And they already see that with Kanchan. She doesn't respect them at all. She says things to them on the face because of the fact that they have the things that they do are beneath people. I mean, the way that they treat other people, the way that they look down upon people, the things that they do are inhuman at times. Not only inhuman, they're manipulative. They're doing things that are that they try to guilt people into things. They try to control things, which are totally things that any human being doing those things to get other people to act in their way cannot redeem respect. So, having said that, if people around you are doing those things to get you to agree with them, that just will not entail any respect at all. And if that is what you are doing in your family to codify patriarchy, and to get younger people to respect you and obey you, then that is a form of patriarchy again. But unconditional obligation of the child to respect you is not something that exists and should not exist, because the child is his own person and has his own rights to think through their own processes, through their own experiences, and through their own triggers. And they have absolute rights to really understand and know and make decisions about what they should respect and what they should not, including you. So that's where we leave it. And I hope this was a good roundup mishmash of things that we saw this week. But ultimately, I think brown people, born under the shadow of expectations and labeled as detractors today just because they question the norm, find respite from that label. And labeling is great. I think we should start relabeling stuff to be positive, because questioning is great. Or honestly, we have to turn ourselves into the society of people who think on their own rather than people who follow a herd mentality. How about that?
Sounds right.
Absolutely. Well said, guys. So we meet next week again. Let's see what happens this week again in Shorin no Kiki Kahani. So good having you here as usual. We miss Manushi and we miss Sumi. They both weren't feeling well. But hope to see you again next week then. Take care. Bye.